Hello friends, welcome back to Laravel 11 tutorial. In this video, we are going to discuss about Laravel model. Okay, so what is model? How it working in Laravel? Okay, so before discuss with the model, let's see one thing. So let's see the MVC structure. Laravel is fully maintain the MVC structure. MVC structure means model view controller. So in this diagram, if you check, you can say these are the user. Suppose you are the user and you are requesting something to the browser. Okay, so here I just requested this URL to the browser, and in return it's getting some response. Okay, so as here it's requesting something to the uh, Laravel application through the URL. First, this response goes to the controller. Actually, controller process all the things. Actually, the controller will check whether the based on that request, do I need to interact with the model or not. If model is required, then it will connect to the model and its responses from the model, and then it redirect to the view, and view shows the response into the user. Okay, so the purpose of model is to interact with the database. Okay, so when we just created this Laravel application and when we are discussing our folder structure, you can see inside the app you will get a folder models. So whatever we will get the models, or we will create a model, we will create inside this models folder. By default, Laravel provides this user model. Let's open this. You can see, so this is the model structure, and the model related operations means if you want to create some migrations or Cedar and all the database related things like Cedar factories, whatever we need will get inside this folder. We will not discuss about these database folder related things here, but here we will create a model, and using model we will get some data to the application. So manually I created a database, that is the Laravel 11 database, and here I just manually created a students table. So let's see how we can get data from the students table. So if you check some data also here in the students table. Okay, so firstly we need to connect with the database for my application, and then we can do the database operation. Okay, so first let's go to the Visual Studio Code, and if you check these are the config section. So here you can see the config section, and this is the database.php. So basically database.php is the configuration of database section. By default this by default Laravel accepting SQLite database. Okay, and here are multiple option, or you can say the multiple connection you can say to the database with the Laravel very easily, like SQLite, PHP MySQL, actually MySQL, and MariaDB, PostgreSQL, SQL Server, and whatever you want you can add. Okay, so in between this you can connect any of the things. Okay, and when you are checking, you can say that is environment database connection. So here you can see environment db while environment db host. Actually these data are coming from the environment folder. So if you check, we have a .env folder. This is actually our environment. We will pass or will set data here, and based on that we'll get response. We'll accept this data, and based on this we'll connect with the database. Okay, we will not change anything in the database.php until we need to change. Okay, so now to connect with the database we don't need to change any database. So simply we can connect the database with by passing the database connection MySQL. Okay, so here we are passing the database connection as a MySQL. So this is the DB connection. So if you see here, by default DB connection is SQLite, but if you set any connection in a DB connection variable, then it will applicable, means our connection name becomes MySQL. Okay. Now just open this tag db host 127.0.1, no problem, db port, okay, and then database name. So database name is Laravel 11 and username is root and password is blank. Okay, for me it's okay. So now database connection is completed. Now how to check database connection is complete or not? So let's see. So we will create a model and we will try to fetch the data. If anything problem with the fetching data, then you can understand there is some problem. Okay, so let's create a database. Let's create a model. How to create a model? So to create a model, we have artisan command php artisan make. Okay, and then model, and here my table name is students. So I am going to create a model which name is student. Okay, so let's enter this, and actually it will create a model inside the app models folder into the student. So I already said all the model will come inside this models folder. So this is the student.php. Okay, so I already created the table. So first model should know the which table or which table is connected with this model. So to connect with the table, just use in this way protected $table, and my table name is students. Okay, though if we create any model and by default if you not set any variable, it will search the database the plural form of this model name. Means here we are just created a student model, so it will search by default students table. Okay, so it added the s. So if you create a teacher model, it will find from the teachers table. It's by default. If something else our table name, then we can create or we can set this protected table variable. So I already added these things. If you not add this thing, no problem on that, I will show you. Okay, so here student model is created. Now we are going to fetch some data. So as a MVC structure, you see, so when request when requested something, it directly goes to the controller. So we cannot request to the model, so we need to create a controller. So let's create a controller. So php artisan make controller, and controller name is suppose student controller. Okay, so let's open the student controller app http controller. We are getting the student controller. Let's create a function. Suppose to write here public function get student. Okay, and here we will connect with the model, and the model will be responsible to fetch data from the students table. So how to connect with the student model? So let's use this namespace, use app models, and my model name is student. Okay, so now the student controller can understand there is a student model and which path is app model student. Okay, now if you want to get some data from the students, we can add the student object or student class, and then we can write anything. So simply just add all. So I want to get all the data from the student table. Okay, so let's take a variable students. Okay, so this is the variable, and I want to get response into the browser. I am not creating any view to return this, so I just going to hit that function and we will just response. Okay, now to call this function we need to create some routes, and from that route we can call. Okay, so just go into the routes web.php and let's create a route, and request will be the get, and when we hit the /students, then it will call. Okay, so let's use the student controller here, and this is obviously class, and let's add the function name. So what is the function name? That is the get student. Okay, so if you hit the students link, it will call. But in the web.php, in the routes, what is student controller? They cannot understand, and web routes cannot understand. So just like we used in the model into controller, we need to use the controller path. Okay, so that routes can understand which are what is student controller. Okay, so just add this. Now just go to this link and simply just response, hit the URL and you will get the response. One thing, this is interesting, the base table or view not found, that is Laravel 11 session does not exist. Actually, when you're going to interact with the database, then by default Laravel finding some sessions session tables should have, but we can ignore for now. We can use that things later. So here we are using the session driver as database. That's the reason it's appearing like this way. So we just maintain all the session to the file, so we'll get the response. Okay, so refresh this, we are getting data from the table. Okay, so here you can see the John, Mark, Lisa, Pekka, so you will get all the things. Great. So you can understand database is connected and we are getting the data through the model. Okay, so you can see that we are using the student model and we are getting all the data. So this is okay. Now let's see something, or let's do some basic query with the model. Okay, so actually this means select star from students. Okay, now if I want to get some data, suppose I want to get a particular data, I want to get the data for id 2. So you can write in this way, just like here write find 2, so it will get the data for id 2. Okay, so here you can see this is the only 2 are getting. Okay, that means select star from students where id equal to 2. Another way we can get the data, you can use the where clause. Where id 2, and we don't need to use the find, then we can use the get. Okay, so we'll get the same response. Okay, so if you change to 3, then refresh, will get the data which id is 3. Okay, so these are the things. Now if I just going to do some another things, like I want to get all the data, but I want to get the data in order. Okay, so just like this, suppose we are getting all the data, and here I just want to make the name as ascending order. Okay, so simply just write here order by, and for which, for name. Okay, so name should come in ascending order. Okay, so just write ASC, so it will get the response based on that. So John, Lisa, Mark, Pekka. If you change to the descending order, so it will change accordingly. Okay, so first this Pekka coming, then Mark, then Lisa, and John. Okay, no problem on that. Now the thing is, suppose there are lots of column in my database. I have to get only name and ID. Okay, so then how can I do this? So simply we can select, or we can specify the column names into the select. So I need only ID and name. Okay, so you can see we will get only ID and name from them. Okay, and you can set aliases also. So simply write, if you want to check name to the student name, that also can possible. Okay, so we can set aliases in the Laravel query also. So whatever we know, or whatever we do in the normal SQL query, we can do in this way. So I am just going to discuss select things, then we'll discuss insert, update, delete. in later video. Okay, so I want to show you another some things. Suppose let's say there are 4 records. I want to get only 2 records. Then how we can do this? So simply use take 2. Take 2 means only 2 records will appear. Sorry, there is a error. Actually, oh sorry, I removed the get should have, and we need to get only 2 records, so you just write take 2. Okay, and here you can see I just removing the order, and you can understand one another thing. Suppose we are using the take 2, so we are getting 1 and 2. Now if I want to get 2 records after skipping 1 record, or we don't need the first answer, after that we need to take the 2 answers. So simply we can write in this way. So skip 1 record, and then we'll get the 2 records. Okay, so we are getting the 2 and 3, so 1 is ignored. Okay, so in this way we can do this. Another thing, if you want to get some array type of things, means just we need to get a response just like array. So simply we can write here pluck name. Okay, so we'll get all the name from the students table, and this is coming as an array. Okay, so that also possible if you want to see any drop down, suppose country drop down, then we don't need all the things, we need only the country name, or you can set in this way id and name. Okay, so you can say id and name, then you can see the index and the value. Okay, sorry, I added wrongly, means first we need to edit the id and name, so so that you can understand this id and name. So in the value section you can add 1 2 3 4, and in the display section you can display this. Okay, so that we can maintain in drop down, no problem. Okay, great. Now some aggregate function. Suppose if you want to do some aggregate operation, right? So I just going to count all the students. Okay, so simply just write count name. Okay, so what will be the count? So 4, you can see the 4. Okay, and based on marks you can do, suppose I want to get the average of marks. Okay, so we'll get the response as average marks, or you can add max, then we'll get the maximum. And if you write the mean, we can use that. Okay, and if you write sum, you can get that. So it's actually adding all the records. So in this way we can see, or we can use the aggregate function. Another interesting thing, group by. Suppose in the students there are 3 students, those are active and 1 is inactive. Okay, so I want to show, or I want to see how many are active or how many inactive. Okay, so simply you can write in this way. Here write select row, and here I just write count star as you can set ls, so student count, and then you can set the status. Okay, and here I just going to write group by, and here write status. Okay, and finally need to add the gate. Okay, now let's refresh and then see. So here you can see 3 students whose status are active, means 1, and 1 student status is 0, means how we can set the order by, then where clause, group by, and if you want to use the limit, means take, skip, and how to find this particular data. So all the things we understand. So this is the basic concept of model, and how we can get data we can understand. Okay, so next day we are going to discuss about some deep in model. Means we simply created the PHP artisan make model and student, but there are lots of comments, there are lots of shortcuts. Using that shortcut we can create a model as well as related file like model controller and all the database folders. So here you can see the database folder, factory, migration, seeder. So all we can create with a single comment. So we'll discuss about that things in the next video very soon. So please subscribe this channel for upcoming video, and if you have any questions about this video, please comment me in the comment section. Thanks for watching this video. Have a good day.